largely responsible for the threat now at the 30-yard line for Edmonds Woodway, charging up the field. After some pretty good field position, just on the 30-yard line. Here's the reverse. Handoff goes back to Chance Justice. Gets stopped and a flag is down. Gets hit about the line of scrimmage and flies forward with a little bit of help from one of the Jackson Timberwolves who got behind him there and shoves him forward 2 yards. We'll see what the laundry on the field is about. First penalty of the ball game, and they will back Edmonds Woodway up. It was a holding foul.
It was a nice call by Gradwell to try to set up the reverse. I had the defense going towards it a little bit until they obviously saw Justice having the football. But you have to be able to stay relaxed and follow your blockers. Morales is going to try to stay in front of you to give you an open lane to run around. But in order for that to happen, just have patience before he can get a block and you can bounce off of that.
A long first down, the swing out and a little spin move, and Josh Gradwell's on the move. Out of bounds he goes inside the red zone. Great job of focusing to catch the football with a man right in your face. And once he realized he was clear, you could see he had wide eyes. He was going for it.
And that's the third play that we've seen from Edmonds Woodway, and the second time we've seen those receivers just turn around and do hitch routes. Nice job of Nick Morales just getting it out of his hands, getting it to his playmaker's hands, and let him take it upfield.
First down and 10 yards to go. The ball on the 16-yard line. Edmonds Woodway with a long sustained drive. The pitch out now goes back to Justice. And he looks like he's heading for pylon touchdown. E-Dub is back on, at least close, if not with the PAT tying this guy up.
And once again, if you have speedsters at running backs, get them to the outside where they can utilize it. And you also had a pulling guard in Logan Lambert out there, number 55. He made that block on the corner who got him to the outside. Chance Justice, he's the one read off of it, cut it back inside, and took it for a touchdown.
Abrema Fatty, the kicker, 5'7" junior, puts it up, and it is good. And we are tied here at Edmonds District Stadium. Edmonds Woodway with the equalizer, 7 apiece after 2 drives. We'll take a break on the Sound Live Sports Network.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
Edmonds Woodway put together a sustained drive, 10 plays, 61 yards in 4 minutes and 11 seconds. Capped by Justice with a 21-yard scamper around the end to tie this puppy up. And now Jackson will look for their chance. And the ball is loose, and they say the runner was down. That was Chandler Woolley. Actually, excuse me, that was a 9-yard return from Brandon Wheeler.
This time on This time on defense, Edmonds Woodway, they just got burned with that deep post on the backside after they did the rollout to the left. Got to stay true. Maybe make sure you're able to follow the guys like Keenan Foster, who's a big playmaker for Jackson.
2 in the backfield, 2 wideouts. Under center, the pitch out. Around end goes Cho. And he is dropped to the mat. and quickly. Great job of reading. Well, we've already seen how the run defense is pretty steadfast for the wave of green there and defense.
We've seen Nick Venema go right up the middle and make the tackle, and that time Tyler Reinford, outside linebacker, shot through the blocker, fought him away, and then was able to bring him down for no gain as for a 2nd and 10.
Jackson's also had a lot of bruising running backs in their history, and also looks to be a little different here where they're employing a run around end more often than not. Of course, we've only seen 2 plays. Back to pass. The blitz is on. Down he goes. A fumble. And a whole slew of bodies jumps in on it. The scrum, they say he was down, and that will be a loss on the play of 4 yards rather. Anderson was able to fall on the ball for the Timberwolves and keep the ball at least in their hands, but it brings up a long 3rd down for for Cheeseman.
Defensive tackle for Edmonds Woodway, Matulovic, did a nice job of just doing a quick swim move. He was able to get behind the center he had a lot of speed with that, was able to get right in Cheeseman's face before he could even look downfield to throw the football.
The senior quarterback now slow to the line, and here comes the reverse. Stood up well and rallied to the football is the wave of green jerseys. No gain, maybe a yard on forward momentum. And the running game is stalled for the Timberwolves in their 2nd drive.
Tanner Caraco did a nice job of fighting across that left guard's face, was able to read the play, seeing that he was coming back to his side and bringing the runner down, but holding him up just long enough that he had some other guys do the help.
So this drive will end in a loss for Jackson. 3 plays, minus 3 yards, assuming the punt gets off here. And it is away, although nearly blocked in the backfield. And that will run up near the 40-yard line where it'll be down. Edmonds Woodway starts right where they did the last drive. Excellent field position for the Warriors.
Look for another run-heavy offense right here with Venema and Chance Justice. And if they need to, they can, as Nick Morales showed in that first drive, can get the football out, get it to his receivers, let them turn upfield and make plays. So to see if we're going to see a little bit more running offense, but also have a passing game in there as well.
The ball marked on the 39-yard line. E-Dub shuffling guys in and out will now put 3 wideouts on the right-hand side. Jackson shuffles that 4-man downfield down lineman, and now around the corner goes Chance Justice once again out of bounds. Another 1st down, and between the 2 running backs, they are averaging nearly 11 yards per play.
And the offensive line, they don't have to block for as long. They get them on the outside, then they can move down to the 2nd level at the linebackers, middle or outside, which extends the play even more downfield.
If you're a coach and you can guarantee me 3.5 yards per rush, I'm a pretty happy guy.
And then maybe open up that play action and try to throw it downfield for a home run play.
Boy, 11 yards a rush. Why give up the pass?
Well,
and back to pass, exactly that is the quarterback. Another 1st down strike. They hit the tight end, Brandon Holgarten. A big guy, 6'4", 200 pounds, and the senior hauls in his 2nd pass of the evening. And it's another E-Dub 1st down inside Jackson territory.
The first time we saw, or the only long pass we've seen attempted for Edmonds Woodway ended up in a sack. The other 3 times we've seen Morales try to throw the football, short, precise routes by those receivers and tight ends, get the ball out of his hands quickly and pick up big chunks.
Josh Gradwell picked up 20 yards on a little swing out pass after a missed tackle by the cornerback. High snap, they hand the ball off this time to Nick Venema. And off the left-hand tackle, a pickup of 1. And that'll cut your average.
Well, that defensive end right there on the right side for Jackson just immediately stood up that left tackle for Edmonds Woodway, drove him back, pushed him down towards the left guard as well, just stuffed up that hole. He had nowhere to run, so ultimately they were going to bring him down for just a 1-yard pickup.
Second down and 9 yards to go with just under 3 minutes to play in the first quarter. With the score 7-7, both teams reaching the end zone on their first possession straight ahead. A pickup of 4 for Justice. And back to the running game, Edmonds Woodway, after picking up the first down via the pass.
And see, the right guard and the left tackle for Edmonds Woodway are not doing necessarily a great job in the beginning of this game. We still got plenty of football left. Getting up to those middle linebackers, getting a block on them so that their running backs can read off of it. When they run to the outside, they don't have to worry about as many bodies out there, but when you got to go up the middle, you need those guards to get to that second level so he can even have more avenues.
Third down, 5 yards to go. Probably in 4-down territory now. Too far to attempt a field goal, but you really don't want to punt in this situation if it's 4th down. We'll see what happens here. Around the left-hand side, Justice goes. A penalty flag flies. And that might have been a block in the back, I believe, on Edmonds Woodway. We'll see what the indication is here. And the officials talking about things, and it is a holding call.
Senior linebacker for Jackson, Jason Cottingham, the nice job of flowing with the play. He's seen it plenty of times already in this first quarter of just a simple toss out to the outside for Edmonds Woodway. But he did flow to the plate, got away from the left guard of Edmonds Woodway and brought him down for just a minimal gain. But also had the penalty, which is going to back him up.
Connor McCole checks in for Justice, and looked like Reinford was going to head in also there and then retreats back to the sideline. 1:50 to go now in the first quarter. In a beautiful early evening ball game, the first of a doubleheader on the Sound Live Sports Network. We'll get to that second game in just a moment. Into the shotgun with 3 wideouts goes Morales. And the hard count once again. There's the penalty flag, and I think we've got a false start on the offense, and that'll just back you right back up. You may be in punt territory now.
Not only is your coach not going to be happy, but was on the receiver on the outside, Josh Gradwell. So coach's son, that's going to probably not make him even.
Nephew, I believe.
It's a nephew?
Yeah.
Irritate him just a little bit more. But it doesn't make your the last time Edmonds Woodway tried to do a long passing play, ended up in a sack. So see if they can try to set that up a little bit quicker and a little bit more efficient so that Morales can get his head around and look downfield for an open receiver.
One of the standards on Edmonds Woodway football is the quarterback runs all the way over to Coach Gradwell to get the signs. They don't flash him in. Receivers do not bring him in. It's the quarterback, that one-on-one conversation prior to every play. You can see that when they get started this next time. Third down, back to the 3 wideouts, and now we've got another penalty flag down and a delay of game, and that elicits a shrug from Coach Gradwell as he asks about the time. That seemed awful fast to me. And the penalty flag came all the way back from the back judge, standing about the 20-yard line. The first down marker is at the 25-yard line. So in the last 3 penalties, you've ended up retreating 25 yards after a short pickup.
And it's been that penalty right there, and then there's just the delay of game. And you were talking about that interaction between the head coach and the quarterback. If you have something like that where you get a nice, solid 6-yard pickup by the running back and it gets called back for the holding, he can come back, say, hey, just calm the guys down, get in the face, make sure that you are the leader in that huddle and they're listening to you so they have the vote of confidence. Right now, when you get that delay of game penalty, that's just one of those, you're not either paying attention, you're just a little undisciplined. So just say, hey, guys, we got 25 yards to pick up on this third down. Whether it's still 2-down territory from here, I don't know if they'll just punt the football after this if they're unable to pick it up. But the face-to-face interaction with the head coach quarterback calms him down, which will calm down the huddle as well.
Third down and 25 yards to go. The ball at midfield, a minute to play here first quarter. With a tied score, 7 apiece. Back to pass, Morales gets good protection from his line. Plenty of time, lets it fly, has a man open, and caught at the 20. First down, E-Dub. And the crowd comes up. What a catch by Connor McCole, streaking out from that right-hand side slot spot, and has to make a circus acrobatic catch to haul it in about the 20-yard line.
Gradwell, the outside receiver, went inside. McCole just did a wheel route, immediately beat that outside linebacker, number 47 for Jackson, Aaron Avelos, and he beat him all the way down the field. Great throw by Nick Morales, and nice job to fight off the sun and jump up and catch the football and pick up a massive first down.
25-yard pickup on that play, just enough for a first down. Back into the shotgun formation, and now the handoff straight ahead. And Venema had a good look, still on his feet. That gap closed very quickly out of that linebacking core for Jackson. Sniffed that one out in a hurry. And that was led by number 40, Romualdo Trejo. Trejo, 5'10", 225. He's only a junior.
And you were talking about he's a linebacker, which means, once again, that offensive line did not get up to the linebacker core.
And that will be the end of the first quarter. Edmonds Woodway and Jackson all knotted up at 7 apiece. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network. Stick around. Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com. Welcome back on the Sound Live Sports Network. Edmonds Woodway, new blood, new life coming into this second quarter after just completing a huge pickup of 25 yards on the strike from Morales to McCole. After getting set back 25 yards and 3 penalties back to back to back, they unloaded.
Well, nice job right there by the guards to hold those middle linebackers who are blitzing. They knew Edmonds Woodway was going to pass. 3rd and 25, those tackles, nice job on the defensive ends. And then just a great, precise route on the wheel route by Connor McCole. Got it, jumped up in the air, beat his linebacker who was covering him, and then picked up the first down.
2nd down and 8 yards to go on the rollout bootleg. 2 men drop in midfield, and now Morales will just take the ball in. 10-yard line, down he goes. He picks up the first down. And the chains will move once again. And that's some awareness by your quarterback right there. Saw the collision in the middle of the field that took really 2 of his receivers out of the play and just tucked it and went.
And also to be able to follow your blocker. He had Tyler Reinford in front of him. He got right behind his back, kind of pushed him to get him going a little bit. But he didn't just try to take him by himself. He relied on a teammate to get him to where he was trying to go.
First down and goal to go, looking to take the lead for the first time in the ball game. Handoff goes straight ahead and not quite to the end line. That was Connor McCole out of the backfield. And the 3rd running back in this ball game to get a legitimate touch.
Look for Edmonds Woodway to maybe run one of their more traditional plays. Crazy, get the backside guard to hit the nose tackle on a little zone blocking scheme, and the running back usually follows right behind him.
2 on the far side, 2 in the backfield. Here's the run in toward the end zone. They are short. A great defensive stance. And can they endure another one, those being the Jackson Timberwolves? And it was Cottingham on the stop. Jason Cottingham, a senior, 5'10", 200 pounds. Here's the pitch out once again to McCole. Has to turn it up. Can he find it? Across the end line. Touchdown, E-Dub. 2 drives. 2 touchdowns. Edmonds Woodway takes the lead.
Had right guard Tana Caraco, just a sweep play off to the right. Had your right guard pull. there was a little bit of a hiccup with the flow of the play as he was trying to figure out where that corner was going to bounce to. Also had the outside linebacker flowing well for Jackson, but ultimately Connor McCool picked up that big 3rd and 25 pass, was able to run it into the end zone. Edmonds Woodway is going to go up 14-7.
And there's the PAT. It is up and through the uprights, and Edmonds Woodway leads by a touchdown. 14-7. We'll take a break on the Sound Live Sports Network. Do stick around. Fans, I'd like to remind you that the All-State Insurance Agency of Jeff Smar is a proud sponsor of Wesco Athletics. Located in Northwest Bothell, Jeff's office serves many areas, including Linwood, Edmonds, Bothell, and Mill Creek. Contact Jeff for a quote at 425-949-7103 or email jeffsmar@allstate.com. Jeff, longtime supporter of Wesco Athletics, had a couple of very fine athletes go through the Edmonds Woodway program. Jason Smar, his son, is now playing down in Vancouver, Washington on a basketball scholarship. So we'd like to thank Jeff. And E-Dub looking fine. A lot of question marks that came into this ball game about the line. I think right now are slowly being congealed just a little bit.
Well, especially in that first game, you just needed to get pads on pads to finally get comfortable. And after a little slow start in that first series for Edmonds Woodway, they finally done that. Great protection on the last 2 passing plays for Morales. One that 3rd and 25 and then the rollout to the left. So they've settled down nicely.
Great kick, hauled in at the 5-yard line. A little shake and bake, still on his feet up to the 10 or 20, 25-yard line. Finally dropped down. Brad Borders, the 5'8", 160-pound sophomore, with that catch over his shoulder and quickly turned around and headed upfield. A nice return by that young man.
I want to see if Alex Cheeseman and Jackson can put a long, sustaining drive together. They had a hiccup the last time. Before that was their first series, 2 plays scoring drive. They threw the post on the backside of Keenan Foster for the touchdown. But is he able to kind of do a long, sustaining drive with 10-17 left here in the second quarter, or is it just is it going to be a home run offense?
Block in the back will take the ball back to the 10. So it'll be Jackson first down and 10-yard line on the 10-yard line, 1st and 10. So they've got 90 yards to go, but they've got 10 minutes to do it. Their first strike was in 59 seconds. After that, a 3 and out. This is the 3rd series, and there's that running game that Jackson traditionally has been so good at over the years. And over the left-hand side, the pickup of about 8. Now they make it back to 6 yards. They'll give him 6 on that.
Junior Andrew Cho just went right in between his left guard and center, who did a great job of opening up that running lane. He picked up a lot of those yards that they just got brought back after that kick return was for the block in the back.
And now the rollout, and no gain. To believe the handoff went to the fullback that time. It was Jason Cottingham, who's been instrumental on defense for this Jackson squad. Now out of the fullback spot, tried to get a quick handoff through that front 4 of the E-Dub lineman. And picks up a yard, 3rd and 3.
Right here, the middle linebacker, Nick Venema for Edmonds Woodway. See if, like that first play of the game, he can shoot through that offensive line interior, make a big play and knock them back so they do not get this first down.
Big 3rd down to establish some offense and try to even the score here with Edmonds Woodway on top, 14-7. Cheeseman, play action to Cho. Now will roll out, has a man open, caught at the 30-yard line. Still on his feet, reverses his direction and is dropped down by Tyler Reinford. Excellent grab by Keenan Foster. He's a dangerous speedster if he gets into open field.
He's the one who scored on that second play of the game. Nice job, though, of Alex Cheeseman to get out on the outside on the rollout, find his receiver, get his hip square, and deliver a nice strike out there to him so that he was able to turn upfield and pick up some extra yards.
Foster, 63-yard catch for a TD in play number 2. And that's the only score so far for Jackson, but they've got a first down now. Penalty flag is down in the shadows in front of the Jackson bench. And they will back Jackson up. Nope, they will back Edmonds Woodway up offsides. You don't want to help them out.
No, and these 2 out of 3 plays so far for this drive, the run up the middle, and then that passing play to Keenan Foster. So Jackson's putting something together right now. You don't want an offsides penalty just to give them an extra 5.
A lot of hands over the eyes of the crowd here staring into the sun. And now we've got another penalty. Beautiful afternoon in September here in week 1 of the Wesco Conference football, and that'll back it up back to the original line of scrimmage.
You don't prefer
back
the
at the
cold?
32-yard line.
You don't prefer the cold and sitting up here all bundled up?
Each season, Stephen, has its own benefit. But yes, I totally enjoy this. And the crowd's electric. The stands are full. You can definitely tell it's high school football season here at Edmonds District Stadium. First down and 10 yards to go with 7:47 to go, and the third straight penalty flag will fly right in front of head coach John Gradwall. And we've got another false start. And head coach Joel Vincent, longtime Jackson coach, will definitely talk to his troops at halftime about the offsides, I'd imagine, especially after 3 straight penalties here, although only 2 of them on his squad.
And the biggest thing is it disrupts the entire rhythm of his offense. Had that rollout, that was the last play they actually ran to Keenan Foster for the first down. 3 penalties in a row, 2 going on Jackson's side, 1 on Edmonds Woodway. So it disrupts their entire flow. They just need to kind of settle back down again to try to start progressing towards positive side yards.
And now we've got a timeout, and they will talk about how they want to manage 15 yards going forward for Jackson. And as they take a timeout, I'd like to remind you that the presenting sponsor for the Sound Live Sports Network is the Shoreline Community College. Make sure you watch them online if you get a moment after football is over. If you've got a student that is looking to make their way into the world, Shoreline Community College, an excellent way to get that started. Edmonds Woodway, winners of the Wesco South Division last season, ended up in the number 2 spot in the district after losing a very tough matchup to Lake Stevens. The Vikings and the Warriors matching up for twice in the district championship in as many years. Lake Stevens getting the best of them both times.
They had a tough matchup up here against Federal Way. We had a 2 running back tandem that just went anywhere they wanted to. And actually, I think there was an opening kickoff return in that football game that really got things started the wrong way.
Back to action with 7:18 to go here, second quarter, 14-7 the score. Play action pass, there's the long bomb, left it in the air. It's a lot of air under that and picked off. And on the way, missed tackle, 40, 30, 20, still on his feet, and run out of bounds is the cornerback, Anthony Schegel. The senior with the pick and the return up that right-hand sideline.
Cheeseman just didn't get the ball out soon enough, trying to throw it out to the outside, far side of the field to Keenan Foster. He didn't turn around to see where the football was, but Schlegel did. Undercut it, intercepted it, and it was a kind of a poor attempt by Keenan Foster to try to make the tackle. It was more out of frustration, just trying to throw him down. Schlegel was able to keep his feet, though, and return it for a great gain after the interception.
You could tell the minute it left Cheeseman's hand, he was in trouble. It just flew out of his, looked like the backside of his hand was not able to pull the ball over and get a rocket out. and that one floated up. I think 3 green jerseys were headed that direction by the time Foster had turned around. And now the shotgun handoff goes to the right-hand side to Venema, and he's in. Touchdown, Edmonds Woodway, just like that. They double their lead in one play. And Edmonds Woodway right now looks like they're not deterred one bit by dropping to 3A.
The right tackle, Matulovic, and the tight end, Hodengarten. Nice job. Combo block. Hodengarten was able to get up to that outside linebacker who tried to extend it to the sideline, but by that time, Venema was able to take it straight upfield, use the sideline for a little bit of help, and cross the goal line for a touchdown.
And the score 21-7 after a 12-yard pickup by Nick Venema finds pay dirt for Edmonds Woodway. And we'll take a break on the Sound Live Sports Network.
Welcome to Northwest Best, brought to you by Smart Service Subaru. Here's your host, Mike Halsey.
We're back at the Red Onion in Mount Lake Terrace, and I'm with the owner, Sean, and the food here is absolutely terrific. The burgers are made with 100% beef, made to order with fresh ingredients. And you're involved in a lot of community projects.
Yes, Mike, we are. With the help of our loyal customers, we're able to give back to our community. Such as we take 100 kids shopping with cops and join us for our terrific Tuesday fundraisers. Join us
at Red Onion Burger. And thank you for watching.
Touchdown by Venema, set up by a pickoff and a long return by Anthony Schlegel. And you can still see Schlegel is elated.
Well, hopefully he's able to do the exact same thing when the Jackson offense comes out. He's going to have a tough matchup with Keenan Foster the entire rest of this football game, and he definitely won that battle that time.
Kickoff into the end zone. It'll be a touchback, and Jackson will regroup and start on their own 20. Edmonds Woodway, definitely the beneficiary of some great field position, started their first 2 drives on the 40-yard line, their own 40, but only having to go 60 yards. Jackson not so lucky.
No, and it definitely helps out your defense when that offense for Jackson gets backed up. You're able to relax a little bit more. You're not in such a tight, confined space. If they do end up in the red zone, you got a little bit more area to work with.
First down and 10, 2 in the backfield. That is Cho and Cottingham for the Timberwolves. Cheeseman turns, it's to Cho, and he's wrapped up there, brought down by Tanner Caraco. 230-pound senior. Stepped right up and knocked him to the ground.
Great effort right there by outside linebacker Tyler Reinford, getting him to turn inside where Caraco was just sitting there waiting for him to bring him down for a tackle.
Edmonds Woodway home against Jackson, then we'll be on the road versus Kamiak. And then here at Edmonds Woodway Edmonds District Stadium, they'll be away, but they will play a new league rival, the Meadowdale Mavericks. That overthrown at an open receiver. That was Brad Borders out of the backfield, who was open for a moment, but Cheeseman just overthrew him.
He tried to go up there and catch the football, but Nick Venema, the defensive back for Edmonds Woodway, was step for step with him and even continued through the play, even when the ball was over his head, to just make sure that he did not bring the football down for a positive gain.
We talked about this rivalry being so big in years past. Now that Jam the Stands affair with the Meadowdale Mavericks, they're in your league now. And how big is that game going to be 2 games from now? Huge. Back to pass is Cheeseman, has a man open, caught. He'll be short of the first down and rolls out of bounds about the 28-yard line.
Well, Keith, it looks like
No,
it's
it looks like it
incomplete.
was incomplete. Shepard could not come up with it. He had it for a moment. It was an excellent throw on mark by Cheeseman. I think Shepard just bobbled the football.
It should have been a catch, and it should have been a 4th and 1 situation as opposed to a punting situation. But let's see what kind of field position Edmonds Woodway can get. Like you said, Keith, when they've had it on the other side of the 50 or even on the other side of the 40 and starting in that sort of shape, they've done a great job and they put the ball into the end zone. So let's see what Connor McCole can do.
Block punt, and it's picked up about the 10-yard line and down at the 9. And it'll be 1st and goal for Edmonds Woodway. What a huge block.
Tyler Ridenford just went through that right side of that offensive line for Jackson, completely untouched, extended out, got the block. Edmonds Woodway the kicker recovered. Edmonds Woodway was able to bring him down, and now they start once again, great field position.
And you can tell the body language has shifted after that first drive in 2 plays that put Jackson up 7-0. Not only are the shadows getting longer over there on that Jackson sideline, but the faces and the body language over there is certainly much different than it was about 12 minutes ago. There's the handoff, right-hand side. Tyler Reinford takes it down near the first down marker. They actually spotted the ball at the 13-yard line after the block punt. So there is a chance inside the 3 to roll the downs over.
And they're doing a great job of when they need to rely on Morales, he'll do that, but they're just simplifying it right now, getting it to those running backs, either Reinford, Venema, or Justice on the outside or up the middle, so that young quarterback in his first game doesn't have to do so much.
2nd down and 1 yard to go after the 9-yard Reinford pickup. And after a block punt, you reward the kid. There's the handoff. They try to. Again, it's Reinford. But this time, Jackson is not fooled.
I think that was just miscommunication between the right guard and the right tackle. I think that they believed it was going to go to the outside. They had a combo block on the defensive end, left the defensive tackle lined up on, I believe it was number 72, Tanner Caraco, untouched, and he's the one who broke free and got the tackle.
4:33 to go. Third down and goal to go. 6 yards to go. They can pick up the first down. There's the rush off the left tackle. A pickup of maybe 2, and this will bring up 4th down.
Look for him to give it to Reinford right up the middle again or try to bounce it to the outside with Nick Venema. Chance Justice is back to our running back.
Reinford the fullback, Justice the tailback. 2 wide outs on the right-hand side. 4th down and 1 yard to go. Morales under center. Spins, hands the ball off to his tailback. Touchdown, Chance Justice.
Right guard, right tackle is able to get it onto that defensive end to blow up a hole. Center did a nice job of turning the defensive tackle to the outside. All Tyler Reinford had to do was get that middle linebacker, and Chance Justice went through untouched.
Justice started off on the right, realized he had to make a decision, but as soon as he saw that stand-up block by Reinford, was able to shift out to that right-hand side and pretty much just waltz right into the end zone for the 2nd time tonight, responsible for 12 of the points here on the board for Edmonds Woodway. 28-7 your score with 3:47 to go, 2nd quarter. Edmonds Woodway with the lead on the Sound Live Sports Network.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
Edmonds Woodway with a commanding 28-7 lead after Chance Justice rushes in from 4 yards out for the touchdown. And the kick is away. 2 men deep for Jackson into the end zone. It will be a touchback, will not be run back. Unlike the pros in college, once you are in the end zone, you cannot run it out, even if you want to.
As difficult as that may be, you got to stay in there.
One miscue really for Edmonds Woodway so far, other than a couple of penalties, and that's the defense on Keenan Foster on the second play of the game, where it went over the top for a touchdown on a 63-yard strike. Early in the game, do coaches give you a mulligan on that one if you're a DB?
Yeah, you had the jamboree, and then you were in finally a game mode. You got to pick up speed a little bit, and he just got behind him, made a great play, and an even better pass by Cheeseman.
Cho rumbles forward after breaking 2 tackles on the left-hand side. Justice had Foster on that route about a third of the way, and then once the rollout started to happen, I think got his eyes focused somewhere else, and Foster was able to beat him over the top.
Yeah, zeroed in on the quarterback, was flowing off to the right side, which is where Cheeseman was rolling out to. And then next thing you know, completely lost Foster, and he was downfield and able to catch it for the long touchdown catch.
Since then, Foster has been open, but Cheeseman has not been able to find him. And once underthrown, once picked off, rolling out as Cheeseman gets tipped and almost picked off. Nick Venema was there. So was Tyler Reinford. 2 names I think we've said 180 times so far on this broadcast. 2 players today that want to play football.
And those might be the 2 guys for this year's defense that we do say their name quite a bit. Nick Venema, Tyler Reinford, also Spencer Schultz has gotten in there a couple times, and Tanner Caraco. So if they're able to settle down and kind of take command of this defense and make plays like that, it should have been an interception, but that happens, especially when the game happens so fast. But those might be the names that we're going to say quite a bit on these broadcasts.
Schultz, Salud, your linebackers. You've also got Xander Hall Spikuza. I'm saying that right? In at linebacker today for the Warriors. On a 2nd and 16, back to pass. Cheeseman once again on the screenplay has Cho underneath. Up near the first down marker. I think he has the first down. And a great mix-up call by Coach Vincent to run underneath that linebacking core and get some blockers ahead.
Nice job, sold it well, had Brandon Hohengarten in front of him. He's a 6'4" defensive end. That's a massive body to have in front of the quarterback's face when he's just trying to dump it off for a screen. But he was able to get his guys downfield and get it into a playmaker's hands and do something positive with it.
A first down for the Timberwolves and about a quarter. 2:30 to go now. Left in this first half of football. Jackson just looking to make something happen. And a fumble. The ball is loose, and it looks like Edmonds Woodway has come up with it. And just as you get this thing going, just as the engine starts to rev a little bit, E-Dub makes you pay.
A turnover, and you can just tell right there, Alex Cheeseman was far away from the progression and the ending result of that play, but he bent over, snapped off his chin strap. You can just tell that he's a little frustrated. First 2 series, his offense did well, and then they had just 2 bad turnovers and the blocked punt that just kind of set him back, and that's when Edmonds Woodway took advantage of that opportunity and was able to capitalize.
An excellent field position once again for E-Dub, and they've got 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go 31 yards and increase this lead and really put it away at this point. Already up by 3 touchdowns, looking to make it 4. Here's the rollout, back to pass. Morales has a man open and overthrew him just a little bit. Had the right idea and had the man open. That was Abdullah Jada, a sophomore. Jada had his man by 5 strides.
He had gotten around Brad Borders down there, who was the corner guarding him, but it was an incomplete pass, but that's where you want Nick Morales to throw the football. Don't throw it short. We saw the Warriors take advantage of a short pass interception just like that. Throw it long where only your guy can make the catch or have an opportunity to do so.
2nd and 10 on the 31 now. Morales turns around, talks to his high formation backfield, and now the pitch around the end. They're going to have to get around a lot of bodies now, and Justice gets brought down awfully hard by Brandon Wheeler. No gain.
We had the left guard out there.
3 yards, I apologize.
You had the left guard out there on a pole, and you had that outside receiver, but they almost looked like they were just kind of running with the play, not really blocking anybody on the defensive side, which ultimately the linebackers came through untouched, and so did the corner, and able to only warrant the Warriors 3 yards.
1:37 to go now on 3rd down. Should you get the first here, you still have plenty of time to get 28 yards, exactly where the ball is now. Twins on the far side. Morales with the snap count. Play action fake bootleg. Beats a man, has a man open, and overthrows once again the intended receiver in Reed Whiston. Coming off the tight end side. 2 good looks, and perhaps a little fortunate there as Jackson was blitzing on the play and got deep in the backfield.
Yeah, especially that right tackle for Warriors did a nice job on the defensive end hinging. Like you said, the linebacker came through untouched between the center and left guard, but such a great play fake right there between the quarterback and running back Morales and Justice. Sold it well enough that the linebacker flowed the opposite way, and he had a wide open target. He was just overthrew him once again.
4th down now for Edmonds Woodway with 1:17 to go here in the half. Shotgun formation. High snap. Morales has to dance a bit. Now he'll scramble. There's a penalty flag down. That'll be a hold as Morales will pick up the 1st down. But that will be a hold against Nick Benema in the backfield. And that'll back it up.
Morales making something out of nothing right there, and probably realizing that there was a penalty flag and a holding on his running back. Did a nice job of getting out of bounds after picking up a nice yardage off of his run and not getting blown up out of bounds.
I don't remember Morales being much of a scrambler, much of a out-of-the-pocket guy in the few times we've seen him.
He had one pass last year. It was a rollout out to the right side, threw it about 30 yards downfield. Like you said, didn't show much athleticism doing that, but probably with the summer program that John Gradwell sets up with his players, was able to develop some speed and nice footwork, and displaying it tonight so far.
Certainly comfortable in the pocket.
Yeah.
But at least his last 2 scrambles, when the decision was finally made to tuck and go, picked up a 1st down, a very important 1st down on his first attempt. Would have been a 1st down if the penalty was not tacked on here.
And the only times we've really seen him be slow was that second pass play that they did the rollout on the right side, and he got brought down for the sack. But besides that, he's shown he's able to get out of the pocket, probably finally settled into the speed of the game after just doing the jamboree and practicing against your own players for a while.
The band is a-cooking. Student body is active off to our right for Edmonds Woodway. Jackson traveling well. They're all standing and cheering far to our left. What a perfect evening for Wesco football here at the stadium. And 1:08 to go. Edmonds Woodway will kick the ball away, and that one shanked just a little bit and will finally go out of bounds about the 5-yard line. We'll see where they mark this. An excellent corner coffin punt. And they will go and mark it at the 7-yard line. Once again, poor Jackson backed up against their own end zone, has to dig out of a hole, and they'll only have a minute to do so here in the half.
Don't get any turnovers. Don't put the ball on the turf. But if anything, if you don't score, try to get some sort of rhythm within that offense going in the halftime so you can at least look forward to something coming out in the second half.
As I mentioned, a great job of stopping Edmonds Woodway there on that drive, because had they scored, it probably was out of reach here in the second half. Jackson now, just by playing that stellar defense on that last series, whether they score or not here when their last possession, will have a chance coming out of the halftime. There's a pass well off to the left-hand side, intended for Peyton Shepard, the senior.
And just go back on that note you just said, Keith. When you have a quarterback like Cheeseman, 6 feet, 175 pounds, and he can air it out. We saw it on that second play of the game. He threw about a 30-yard pass down to Keenan Foster. If he's able to do that, you always have a chance of coming back, just getting a couple stops against Edmonds Woodway, and then airing it out. Anything's possible in the second half.
57 seconds to go. Cheeseman back under center, I formation, split receivers. There's the handoff to Cho. Cho past the 10-yard line to the 11 and is punished. Cloud of dust, if you can see a cloud of dust on the artificial turf. Matulovic with the stop for Edmonds Woodway, one of the linebackers here on this EW squad, who shows a lot of promise, not having a lot of snaps and not a lot of reps last season.
He's gotten about 4 tackles thus far in the first half.
20 seconds, probably the last play from scrimmage here in the half for the Timberwolves. And the handoff once again straight ahead. They've got some room for Cho. He gets by the linebacking core into the defensive backs, and with 5 seconds to go, gets down to the 35-yard line. A pickup of 25 for Cho, by far his best rush of the evening. And Jackson takes a timeout. And with the arm of Cheeseman, why not air one out here to end things? Consider it a long punt if it's picked off at this point in time. You don't worry about your stats.
Play disciplined, sound defense if you're Warriors. Get those secondary way, way back off of the line of scrimmage so nothing gets behind them, so they have no chance of trying to throw it downfield. Try to get that defensive line to try to use a rip or a swim to try to get back to the quarterback. But like that second play, we've mentioned it plenty of times thus far in this first half. Make sure you don't get sold on a play-action rollout if it is again, and you have that backside receiver doing a post. Get everybody back and make sure you keep everything in front of you.
Coaching staff pretty much echoing exactly what you said, showing their DBs that they want at least one back behind the ball at all times. Even a little shove back with their arms, telling them they need to even get further back. And there's the little bubble screen out on their left-hand side to Keenan Foster, and that'll end things with a loss. But you still got a shot if you're Jackson. Spencer Schultz in to end the half for the Warriors on defense, who have been solid on both sides of the ball. And they will go into the locker room first with the 3-touchdown lead. 28-7 is the score here at Edmonds District Stadium. Edmonds Woodway Warriors on top of the Jackson Timberwolves. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network, presented by Shoreline Community College. We'll be back with a halftime program in just a moment. Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com. Edmonds Woodway with a commanding lead here in the second half of play, or the first half of play heading into the second half. What are they talking back in the locker room right now about the play for Edmonds Woodway right now?
Just keep everything in front of you. We've harped on it quite a bit thus far in that first half. Just the one big play, that's all that Jackson's had. That's the only touchdown that's up there on the board for them. Those running backs, make sure those linebackers get up there and get towards the line of scrimmage to try to fill up those holes. Besides that, they have really nothing to complain about on defense. They're doing an excellent job on all facets of that side of the football. And on offense, their running game, keep going to the outside. They are, and also throw the football downfield, get those short passes that you can get it to the playmakers' hands and let them turn it upfield.
I'd like to welcome you to the Action Jackson halftime program here on Sound Live Sports Network. And Keith Neely alongside Stephen McGrain. And as long as we've been covering high school sports, Stephen, it seems like it's about mistakes and then again about redemption. And although Jackson has got that one long strike, there's a lot of time left in high school football to erase that lead for Edmonds Woodway. What do they got to do for Jackson?
Well, just with that first play of the game, in the first series, you just kind of got to settle down, get back with the speed of things, and that was the biggest mistake that Warriors had. It was the second play of the game, and Foster was able to get behind them to settle down after that and played great sound football on the defensive side.
The running game for Jackson, that was one of the things that was heralded coming into this. Traditionally, they've had a very bruising style running game, really equalized very well by some very young defensive, on the defensive side of the ball for Edmonds Woodway. The linebacking core has really stepped up.
Nick Venema, you got Spencer Schultz, Tyler Reinford got in there, Tanner Caraco, doing a great job of getting up on the line of scrimmage, filling up those holes so the running backs can't get through in between the tackles, and then having enough speed to get on the outside when they try to float out there on the tosses and sweeps, or even try to get it out to the out-of-bounds line. Jackson just hasn't been able to do much because of the speed and the also size of the linebackers for Edmonds Woodway.
Speed has definitely played a part, and I think that was really shown by the pickoff and the run back by Schlegel when he caught that very almost lame duckish throw by Alex Cheeseman. They able to escape one tackle, and then it was off to the races. A guy not known necessarily for his speed, but boy, once he had the football in his hands, he was gone.
Well, and on defense, if you have guys who are on one side of the football and don't go both ways, they love interceptions because they can finally make a block on somebody and kind of come out of nowhere and maybe pick up some extra yards for the guy, Schlegel, who you mentioned, who got the interception. So just a nice job of getting off to the races. Keenan Foster didn't make the best effort on the tackle, just kind of try to throw him down. Schlegel kept his feet, followed his blockers, and got the ball all the way down to probably about the 12, 13-yard line.
It's a new season. It's also a new alignment. We'll talk about how the 3A and the 4A districts shape up here in the Wesco Conference when we come back on the Action Jackson halftime program on the Sound Live Sports Network. We'll be back in a moment. Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com. Cascade, Jackson, Kamiak, Lake Stevens.
But Jackson and Lake Stevens are only big ones, right? Stanwood?
Really. Welcome back on the Action Jackson halftime show here on the Sound Live Sports Network. Keith Neely, Stephen McGrain, a 28-7 lead for the Edmonds Woodway Warriors as they face an old foe, an old South Wesco foe in the Jackson Timberwolves, who now find themselves on different sides of 3A and 4A. A couple of changes in the Wesco have put Edmonds Woodway in the reclassification down to the 3A division, along with the Linwood Royals. And Jackson stays right there, but it's pretty thin pickings for 4A. Cascade, Kamiak, Lake Stevens, Monroe, Mount Vernon, Snohomish, and Mariner. So Mariner certainly a very tough 4A opponent, but alongside Jackson, maybe Lake Stevens, those are the perennials at the top of the 4A.
Yeah, and the majority of the big, solid powerhouses, the juggernauts year in and year out for Wesco, as you mentioned, it's there's only 8 teams up there on the 4A division, and there's everybody else is pretty much down below at the bottom in the 3A. But after this, you got to go against Kamiak, Meadowdale, Mount Lake Terrace, and then you also have probably the biggest one. Like we mentioned, Jackson's usually had this spot in prior seasons, but now Glacier Peak is down there at the last game of the year, which will probably ultimately decide who wins the division for the Wesco South, I believe. So, like Jackson, they just quickly get replaced by a great team in Glacier Peak. But like we said, the juggernauts year in and year out got dropped down to 3, and it's going to make that season just that much tougher.
And you talk about good teams. It always has been about Jackson and Meadowdale, the Mavericks, who usually are at the top of that 3A division in football. And this year, Edmonds Woodway has to go in and play both of them, and they're both in the West Coast South. Edmonds, Glacier Peak, Linwood, Meadowdale, Mount Lake Terrace is also in your division, Shorecrest and Shorewood. So it doesn't necessarily get any easier if you're Edmonds Woodway just because you've dropped a division. You still have plenty of hardy teams that you have to match wits with.
But as long as they keep playing football like they did in this first half, they'll be just fine going against those other teams who are dropped down, and now you're on that new league classification with.
One program note coming up after this, it'll be the Stanwood Spartans from that 4A classification will come in and play the Meadowdale Mavericks in the matchup right after this one, 8 o'clock. And Steve Willits and Vince DeMiro will have the call for you on the Sound Live Sports Network. We'll take one last break here on the Action Jackson halftime show and be back to wrap up the final stats of this half and start the second half of football on the Sound Live Sports Network. Stick around. Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
So this program is brought to you by the Edmonds School District by broadcast production class. I'm Eliana Rodriguez, and this is the first game of the season, starting with the Edmonds Woodway Warriors. Last year they ended up with an overall score of 8-2, and their opponent Jackson had an overall score of 5-5. And now we are back with the great season, great ahead, great fans, everything. And thank you so much, and take it away.
Thank you, Elaine.
Back to halftime.
It is halftime, and it is 28-7 with Edmonds Woodway on top of the Jackson Timberwolves in a non-leg affair here at Edmonds District Stadium. Everybody settling into school, only having started back on Wednesday. So a short week for the students, and they are still in summer mode, both in attire and mentality, Stephen McGrain. It is definitely festive in the stands, and it can't hurt to have a 3-touchdown lead.
No, and then, like you said, great showing for that first game. Probably the right side of the stadium is a little bit happier than the left side, with the Edmonds Woodway fans being on the right side, cheering on the Warriors. But looking forward to the second half of football and keeping it going. But especially one of the things the Warriors need to look forward to in the second half is with the offense, keep that offensive line gel going, get them back in that rhythm. You don't want to have a great first half like they just did in that with the center, guard, tackle all being on the exact same page, coming out, sitting down a little bit in that second half in the locker room, being cold, losing all communication, all rhythm, and then giving any possible chance for Jackson to come back into this football game.
Jackson looked large and in charge to start things off with a second play strike for 63 yards. Cheeseman to Foster, and that'll set up your season. And it looked really ugly early for the DBs for Edmonds Woodway as Foster untouched into the end zone 59 seconds into the game, and it is 7-0 Jackson. But Edmonds Woodway would get the ball back on the ensuing kickoff and go 10 plays, 61 yards, and chew up 4 minutes of clock time before Chance Justice scrambles off to the left-hand side for a 21-yard TD run. And that would equal the score at 7 apiece. Jackson then would go 3 plays and lose 3 yards before punting it away. Edmonds Woodway did not stop there. 61 yards after starting on their own 39-yard line. McCole had a big 25-yard pickup for a first down that was instrumental in that attack. And again, another touchdown made it 14-7, if I've got that right. Venema with a 12-yard run after the quarter ended. And we switched sides, and both running backs, Venema and Justice, were on the board. Jackson would get the ball back, and a beautifully timed punt block by Tyler Reinford at the 20-yard line gave another chance for Chance Justice to catch the football and pick up a 4-yard scramble for a TD. And for his second march into that end zone on the day, and that's really where the scoring would stop. Both teams were stranded on their only possessions thereafter. And that's where we are right now, 28-7. It's halftime, and the festivities still continuing here at Edmonds District Stadium. A lot of fun. You got to get down to one of these things, and you have a chance to do it right after this. If you're a fan of Meadowdale football, they've got another good year ahead of them.
But we do appreciate you listening to us, though. That's
Absolutely. Coach John Gradwall out of the tunnel first, leading his group out of the locker room. He's got to feel really good about what he sees, especially after a kind of rocky start a week ago in the Jamboree. The Mariner Marauders, the team that really kind of shook them up in that Jamboree. They will not have to face this season. And out of the locker room they come. Edmonds Woodway has got to be feeling pretty good about themselves at this point.
Got to be feeling good about the way that the offensive execution is going. The defense is making plays, getting turnovers, especially with the interception and then the block punt. So in all facets of the game right now, Edmonds Woodway has looked fantastic. And we talked about in the opening how we wanted to see Morales settle in, who was going to be the running back tandem in the backfield, how the offensive line was going to be able to settle in. Everybody did a great job in that first half. The chemistry looked on point, and then even the defensive side, linebackers and the secondary, great communication and flowed with the football well.
The Timberwolves still talking things over. We'll bring them out of the locker room here after a quick break on the Sound Live Sports Network. We'll be back to start the second half. You've been listening to the Action Jackson halftime show here on the Edmonds Woodway and Jackson ball game. It's the Sound Live Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
About to start things here in the second half on the Sound Live Sports Network. Edmonds Woodway with a 28-7 lead. I'd like to take time out to thank the broadcasting class of the Mount Lake Terrace High School, all the students that are helping us out here with the cameras and audio and doing the switching. Great program led by Angela Camo and the Mount Lake Terrace High School. These kids learning how to be television broadcasters. And Stephen McGrain, we can yak all we want up here, but it sure takes a lot of help, and we appreciate what these guys are doing for us. Just about to get underway here. Edmonds Woodway kicked things off to start the ball game, so they will be getting the football to start this second half of play. And if you're Jackson, you're going to have to make a statement on defense right here.
Make a statement. Make sure that the runners they stay in front of you. You flow with the plays. If you don't make the tackle, at least get them out of bounds where they have to stop and not get too far down the field. And if they start opening up with passing game again, make sure you cover the receivers. And like Edmonds Woodway, secondary has to watch out for in the second half. Don't let anybody get behind you, although majority of the passes have been short, just intermediate throws just to get to the playmaker's hands and let them turn upfield for Edmonds Woodway.
Venema has one touchdown. Chance Justice with the other two on the ground. And here's the pickup off the turf at about the 10-yard line. And there's some great pursuit, and if a statement is to be made, that's the way to start it off on special teams. It was Jacob Bogatz on the tackle on the return there, got downfield on that gunner spot. The sophomore with the stop.
The longest opening drive that the Warriors have had, offensive series, has started at about the 39-yard line, somewhere in there. This is obviously, they've been backed up the furthest thus far. So let's see if they're able to march all the way downfield and do a long, sustaining drive.
They'll have to do it in 86 yards with the ball on the 14-yard line for Edmonds Woodway. Familiar backfield, familiar wideouts for Edmonds Woodway. And there's the pitch. Off the right-hand side, it goes to Justice, and he'll maybe pick up a yard. Nick Venema also in that backfield. Trails the play. And Wheeler with the stop for the Jackson team. A pickup of a yard.
If you're a blocker on the sweep, you have to get in front of the face of the defender who's trying to fight across and ultimately make the tackle. That time, Venema was mainly behind the shoulder pad of the Cottingham, I believe, who flowed with the play, and also Brandon Wheeler was unable to get in front of them. They were able to cross his face and make the tackle on Chance Justice.
Second down. Ball once again goes on the outside. This time Venema with it up near the first down marker. We'll see where they spot the football. I think he gets the first down, Venema. And Justice. 1-2, you don't know what you're going to get, and they're both poisoned if you're a Jackson defense right now.
They're both doing well going up the middle, and especially getting on the outside, except for that last one on the top sweep to Justice. Getting out in the open field, making cuts off your blocks, and also being able to dance around the defenders who are waiting to try to tackle you.
Largely quiet out of the backfield other than some heroics running around end into touchdown land. The big plays have come through the air, at least the exciting ones for Edmonds Woodway. And here comes a run around end, has to break a tackle, does so nicely. It's Justice again, able to keep his balance enough to get positive yards. And that young man definitely earning his stripes today.
Logan Lambert just tried to blow up that linebacker, and instead of turning his back and trying to run downfield, turned around to make sure that he could not make a play, stayed on his block, was able to get his running back just a couple extra yards as opposed to a loss.
Second down, 6 yards to go for the Warriors. 3 wideouts now on the far side in the shadows, starting to drift into the turf. 9:58 to go. High snap, hand up straight ahead. This time it goes to Venema and finds a host of Timberwolves, including Marcus Sullivan, the 6'3 sophomore, the D lineman.
He was in there. Elijah Crooker was in there. And also Marcus Sullivan, nice job just on the right side of the Warrior offensive line, stuffing it, getting into the holes, not giving any open rushing lanes for Venema.
5th play of the drive brings up 3rd down and 4 for Edmonds Woodway. Started on their own 14-yard line. Shotgun formation. Morales. Fake handoff. Nope, they give it to him, and this time a little counter play. And he is stopped there. No gain on the play. Jason Cottingham for the Timberwolves made the stop, and that senior 200-pounder, that linebacker's been active.
And he did a nice job of staying at home. The progression of the play and the flow was supposed to go to the left. That was the way the Warriors were trying to fake out that defense. Came back to the right side. He stayed at home after reading the progression and made a great tackle, resulting in a 4th down.
So the Warriors will punt it away. The deep man, Christian Nerschel. And they lost the football for a moment. Edmonds Woodway may have come up. We'll see if he was down. Schlegel, once again from that gunner spot, able to scamper down the left-hand side.
It looked like a Timberwolf touched it, and then the Warriors recovered, but I don't know if the refs didn't see that. It looked like number 21.
That's Schlegel.
Yeah.
He's got his hands in the air, doesn't know quite how that progressed either. But no explanation, and it will be 1st down and 10 yards to go for Jackson on the 29-yard line.
Let's see if Jackson doesn't turn the football over on this drive, their opening drive of the second half. See what Cheeseman can do with Keenan Foster, and is also another running back, Anthony Cho, in the backfield.
Hand off to Cho, right-hand side, gets around and has some room. Muscles up 5 yards before he's run down. Your defense did your job. They got your punt, and you got the ball back. And now you got to get a quick strike and see if you can't cut this lead in half.
Cheeseman has to make sure those guys in the huddle still believe that they can come back in the second half. There's plenty of time. There's 7:57 left in the 3rd quarter. Make sure that offensive line has enough effort and belief that they can block that defensive line, and those receivers are quick enough and precise enough on the routes.
Johnson on the right-hand side also is Peyton Shepard, but they hand the ball up straight away. And that is a pickup of perhaps a yard for Cho. Spencer Schultz, the big linebacker, steps right up there, the junior, with the smack down. Looked like he had a beat on Cho right from the snap.
Did a nice job. Cho ran through that offensive line, standing kind of tall and running. Spencer Schultz just kind of waited at the middle linebacker position and got low and then exploded through, stopping him basically right in his tracks until his other friends came along.
Here's Cho once again, and he's down just short of the 1st down. And right back to the running game go the Timberwolves, although this time come up a bit short, 4th down.
Try to get it to flow into the outside. Picked up about 3 yards right there with Andrew Cho at the running back position. The Warriors just flowed nicely with the play, but just got blocked a little bit too long, but ultimately brought him down for a big 4th and 1 early on in the second half.
Will Segal, the lone returner on that offensive line for Edmonds Woodway, got in on the play there on the defense side of the ball. Will, a large part of that success for Edmonds Woodway last season. Now a hard count try, and they will try the quarterback sneak. Wham, bam, thank you. That is Dick Venema, who says, no way is that quarterback sneak coming through me.
And I don't think Alex Cheeseman was even ready for the snap. He thought they were gonna do the hard count. He decided he was gonna step back and maybe make a couple calls to try to see if the defense would fall for it before going back to it. But Nick Venema was there waiting for it, exploded through between that right guard and center, and knocked him back on a massive 4th down turnover on downs.
At that point, you kind of question why you don't stop things after the hard count. You know it isn't successful. But I guess down 3 touchdowns, you're painted into a corner, you got to try something.
And once again, Keith, great field position for Edmonds Woodway.
And 6:13 to go third quarter. There's a penalty flag. The hanky in the backfield will be holding on Edmonds Woodway, and that'll back it up. From the spot of the foul, we have an illegal motion call rather than a hold. Tailback started one way before the snap. And even now with the lead you don't want to make mistakes if you're Edmonds Woodway.
And I don't know about, looks like to me Nick Morales is hobbling a little bit after that run. But like you said, just keep running the football. Try to get those first downs, get the clock to even go all the way. I mean, they have 6 minutes left in the third quarter. They could run the football all the way down to this end of the quarter as long as they keep on going into the positive direction.
EW has Isaac Jackson as the backup quarterback should Morales need to sit with an injury. But he looks good here. Has a man open downfield. It's the tight end. Caught at the 7-yard line. Hauled in by Brandon Hogarten. The wide receiver, 6'4", but didn't have to use the height there. Just put on the afterburners, and the speed is what got that ball down to the 6.
Hogarten, 6'4", the guy that they just picked on again, Aaron Avelos, just threw it right in actually the perfect part of the shade down there for Hogarten. Nice catch with the hands. Don't try to bring it into the body. And a massive gain for Edmonds Woodway as they're knocking on the door once again for a possible touchdown.
Hogarten just got right behind the defense there and used that long strides to just put daylight between him and that DB. Hauled it in, big play. And most of the fun ones have come through the air, but there's a touchdown. Hand off to Connor McCall right up the middle, untouched. Hands the ball to the referee like he's been there before.
That left tackle was able to seal off the defensive end. Left guard, and center. Combo block on the defensive tackle, moved up to the middle linebacker. And after that, it was Connor McCall making a cut off of them, went into the end zone untouched as the Warriors extend their lead even more.
A 40-yard strike to Hogarten sets up a 6-yard run by McCall. And that a low snap, very well held by Footy. And it's 35-7 with 5:14 to go here in the third quarter. Sound Live Sports Network is presented by Shoreline Community College. And we'll take a break here in the third quarter. 5:14 remain. Allstate Insurance Agency of Jeff Smar is a proud sponsor of Wesco Athletics. Located in Northwest Bothell, Jeff's office serves many areas including Linwood, Edmonds, Bothell, and Mill Creek. Contact Jeff for a quote 425-949-7103 or email jeffsmar@allstate.com. Sunshine settling in here at Edmonds District Stadium in a beautiful evening to kick off the Western Conference football season. And Edmonds Woodway getting the better of the Jackson Timberwolves 35-7 halfway through this third quarter, and doesn't look like they have any intent of slowing off and slowing the gas pedal. It's firmly planted on the floorboards right now.
Which is a good thing to see, especially with the young team out there in the first game. Are they going to come out at halftime knowing that they're up 21 points against Jackson and kind of lay off the gas pedal, or are they going to still go full steam ahead, and they've done so thus far?
Bobbled kickoff, finally picked up by Borders, but really by the time he had to retreat to pick up the football, any chance at moving forward was slashed. Jackson just seems to be all sorts of out of shape right now.
And for Edmonds Woodway, it's been all the groups that they've had, offense, defense, and special teams in this first game have come out and done well. They got the block punt. They did a great job of coverage right there after he bobbled the snap, or the kickoff. So, and then the offense has been a well-oiled machine going downfield, and the defense has been stout.
Jackson will start 1st and 10 on the 10. in their second possession of the third quarter, first one resulting in a punt. And now the handoff to Cho, right-hand side, has to slash, dash, dance. And a loss of 2 after all of that running. Tanner Carrasco and Will Segal in on the stop.
Carrasco got there first, was able to knock him back, tried to get him to go towards the sideline. And then after that happened, Will Segal, nice job of fighting off of that left tackle, getting off of him, and going back and making the tackle.
So second down and 13, and the arm of Alex Cheeseman is going to have to come out here soon. The running game really has not been established at any point in this ball game. And there's the drop back pass, has a man over the middle, caught, and it's a first down for Jackson. Hauled in by Keenan Foster. He's just got good presence out there.
When Cheeseman's gotten time, he's had that one errant pass down here that was at the end of that first half that just went straight out of bounds. But when he's had time, he's looked comfortable. He's able to find his receivers. The only issue is that hasn't happened very often in this game tonight. And then the running backs, I mean, Cho's done a nice job, but his primary receiver, he's only found him about 3 times on about 7 targets.
Shepard and Foster on the near side. Here's the handoff to Cho, and he's stopped. One thing I'm noticing by the receiving core for Jackson is they don't really run downfield if it is a running play. They really almost tip their hats. At least on those last couple of plays that have been runs, I don't think Foster's gotten 2 steps off the line.
They almost turned into spectators throughout the progression of the play, which doesn't do a very good job of selling it, especially with if you have a safety down there about 15 yards downfield. Look at the receivers. He's able to run up and make a tackle.
Schlegel just heads into the pile. He gives up. There's a Cho run, and again, Foster did not even get 2 yards into positive yardage, and Schlegel just runs back toward the ball.
It also helps if your linebackers were completely untouched. That time, Spencer Schultz fought across, did a nice job of flowing. Blitz basically right in between where the right guard and right tackle would be, and dropped him back for a nice little loss.
Spencer Schultz, 5'8", 190-pound junior. Plays like he's about 230 on that left-hand side of the linebacking core.
But once again, a young guy on that defense who's stepping up when they ask him to.
Right-hand side, a middle linebacker. And now they'll slide another linebacker up into the gap. And back to pass goes Cheeseman. Has Foster over the middle, and a intended receiver that time was Marcus Sullivan, who has to turn around and look up into the air at about fingertip high, had a chance at it, but just overthrown slightly. And that'll be a punt as the kicking team comes on for the Jackson Timberwolves with 1:49 to go here in the third quarter.
The guys in the secondary for Edmonds Woodway did a nice job of covering right there, but you got to get your head around to at least make an attempt to look at the football, so at least the perceived idea then by the referee is that you try to make a play as opposed to just face guard.
Once again, Connor McCole will step up and take in the punt. That time around, and a penalty marker is down. McCole cuts back to the left. He's got some room. 10, 5, touchdown, E-Dub. I think that one will come back, Steven. I think we've got a hold on Edmonds Woodway.
I think it's going to be on number 21, Anthony Schlegel. He knocked the defender all the way down at about the 42-yard line where the penalty flag was. So as much as the Energizer Bunny that Connor McCole is on all facets, on defense and offense for Edmonds Woodway, wasted effort right there.
E-Dub still looking like they've got a lot of life, a lot of happy faces on the near sideline by the green-clad Warriors. And on the opposite side of the field, inversely proportionate to that, the long shadows and the long faces of the Timberwolves. for all that anticipation and excitement that builds up for opening day, and to be able to come out and fire a 63-yard strike to your star receiver, things feel pretty good early for Timberwolf fans.
Well, especially if it's your first time starting on Friday night. You want to come out, you want to play a great game, especially in front of your friends and family and just for yourself. But one of the also beautiful things about it is if you're the Warriors, you get other guys in there who don't typically play or would.
Fake handoff on the play action, and Nick Morales shows some speed around the right end. Sorry, that's Isaac Jackson, backup quarterback. Isaac Jackson wasting no time and making an impression here on the coaching staff of Edmonds Woodway.
Got some speed right there, the right tackle. I think it's number 74, Will Segal, sealed off the defensive end. They had a running back get up to that linebacker. And after that, it was Isaac Jackson off to the races before ultimately going out of bounds.
First down and 10 on the 25-yard line, and now in the shotgun formation. We'll see what Jackson's got for an arm. Leg kick. Here comes the snap. Low snap. Has to take it himself. He'll do so over the left-hand side this time. Another scramble for a first down, but a penalty flag. I think we've got another hold.
Yeah, Nick Venema is trying to pick up that blitzing outside linebacker and just held on a little too long. You also got number 78 in there right now, Reed Friday, coming in there at center to spell number 52, Thomas Matulovic. So a couple of brand new faces out there for Edmonds Woodway, but I like Nick Morales staying engaged with John Gradwell and also Isaac Jackson. He's done for the night, but he's still staying engaged with the game and also helping out Isaac if he needs any help.
Jackson over to talk to head coach John Gradwell and hustles in with the play call with 1:13 and counting as the clock continues to count down here in the third quarter. First down and 20 yards to go and a bobbled snap. Jackson just has to pounce on it. And because he was down, he will lose a yard and bring up third down and 21.
Well, it's tough to take that first snap with the starting center and then immediately within the series bring in a new guy. I mean, it's Reed Friday, so he just needs to settle down a little bit. He's been in there for 2 or 3 plays. The snaps have been a little all over the place, but get settled down. And like we said, even in the opening series for both teams, you just need to get with the speed and the progression of the game. Once you have that down, everything just flows.
Rhythm and flow. And snap count, pretty big part of it. You know, these kids will go under center and get so many reps a piece just to get that timing down, to know the nuances between that crucial handoff between the center and the quarterback, and that'll end the third quarter of play here at Edmonds Woodway. EW with the big lead, 35-7 over the Timberwolves. You're watching the Sound Live Sports Network, presented by Shoreline Community College.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
Welcome to Northwest Best, brought to you by Smart Service Subaru. Here's your host, Mike Halsey.
We're back at the Red Onion in Mountlake Terrace, and I'm with the owner, Sean, and the food here is absolutely terrific. The burgers are made with 100% beef, made to order with fresh ingredients. And you're involved in a lot of community projects.
Yes, Mike, we are. With the help of our loyal customers, we're able to give back to our community. Such as we take 100 kids shopping with cops and join us for our terrific Tuesday fundraisers. Join us
at Red Onion Burger.
And thank you for watching.
Play underway. Picks up about 8 yards. Got back to the 12 yards to go with 4th down. And you really are in 4-down possession right now. If you're Edmonds Woodway, as Jackson comes in after getting the instructions with about 30 seconds gone by here in the 4th quarter of play.
And I like the kind of rhythm that he has right now. You're up big in this football game. Get the play call, go into the huddle, kind of get the play in, and then make sure you put waste as much time as possible.
Jackson backs to pass, has to roll out, now looks downfield, nobody open. Will tuck it in, now finally lets one fly, and it is caught in the end zone! But a penalty flag, and I think we've got offensive pass interference. It was pretty obvious there was a shove-off right before that catch.
Strong arm by Isaac Jackson, though, getting it downfield and into the end zone. Just, I think it was number 27, Tyler Reinford. Just a little bit of extra effort on that one with his hands before jumping up and ultimately bringing the ball down.
Great catch, but not before the extracurricular will tag on a 15-yard penalty. And that'll really put you back into some long yardage for 1st down. We'll see where they mark this here. Edmonds Woodway will play another former West Coast South 4A foe in Kamiak next Friday night, 7 o'clock at Goddard Stadium. That's the first away game test. And I think they'll bring the punting squad on now for Edmonds Woodway. And then the big one that circled on a lot of the folks, the calendars around the Edmonds area, and that is the Jam the Stands game 2 weeks from tonight, 8 o'clock p.m. here at Edmonds District Stadium. The punt is away and out of bounds that will go. Down, no, into the end zone touchback, but a good punt. 8 p.m. Friday, September 19th is the game against the Meadowdale Mavericks, and that will be the first test for this Edmonds Woodway ball club.
Crosstown rivals, got a lot riding on it. A little bit different than the past years. They're in the exact same classification and division as Edmonds Woodway, so it's got a little bit of added extra bonus on top of all the festivities that everybody takes part in, especially the students, and it's just a great time for everybody.
And not only is it your crosstown rival, but it's the first game of the games that matter in the district as far as your league and the standings going into the playoffs. Hand off to Cho, left-hand side. After that, it's Mount Lake Terrace and Linwood. Linwood also dropping down from 4A to 3A. And then the Shoreline School District teams, Shorecrest at the new Shoreline Stadium, and Shorewood also the October 17th, the week following, on the road at Shoreline Stadium. And he finished the season against mighty Glacier Peak as the Grizzlies come down off the hill into Edmonds District Stadium to finish it off. Here's Cho. Hit hard. And down to the carpet. Cho. A little hard getting up. Graydon Heron, the linebacker there, making the stop, the junior.
But as we look at the schedule, this was supposed to be one of the bigger matchups for Edmonds Woodway. And then you also, as you look down, you also had Meadowdale, which we just spoke about. Linwood, we know what we get with them, and mainly Andrew Katzenberger as our running back. And then, as you said, Glacier Peak. But you can't overlook any opponent any Friday night. So it'll be interesting to see if they still have the exact same mindset with Kamiak to not overlook them and look towards Meadowdale.
Hand off left-hand side this time. It's interesting, even on 3rd and short, that Jackson, who has struggled with the running game so far, continually going back to that at this point. And it'll bring up 4th down. At this point, you've got to do it. You got to go for it.
And I don't know if it's just they're not throwing the ball, because as we saw with the interception, Keenan Foster's got a lot of speed, and Cheeseman was not on the same page with him. So they worried about that going back again, throwing another interception, or just if they don't have enough in the tank, or excuse me, enough in their repertoire in the passing game to be able to throw it downfield.
A lot of times early in seasons, the playbook is not very extensive.
Yeah.
You've only got 1 or 2 or 3 schemes that you got to keep some of these kids knowing about. There's a first down run on 4th down. And that is Aaron Avalos. Good run by that young man, keeping things alive for his Timberwolves squad.
But like you said, the opening series, you have that laid out. You have a script, and you're going to do that, especially typically on Thursday nights during the walkthrough and at practice. That's the last thing you do to make sure everybody's on the same page. You know what your job is. And then from then on, it's whichever play that the coach calls, and as long as you have those down pat, then you should be okay.
Jackson a handoff once again. Pickup of 4 yards. Once again going back to Avalos. 5 yard is what they give him after the spot. Jackson is on the road at Quilceda Casino Stadium. Marysville Getchell, the opponent next week. And then they face Cascade at home at Everett Memorial Stadium, their first league opponent. As the Bruins come into Everett Memorial. A similar thing with the Edmonds teams, where Everett Memorial hosts a lot of the Friday night of the Wesco North teams. There's a pass in and out of the hands, finally caught. I don't think that Shepard was the intended receiver there, but very good eyes in hauling in the football after it got through the hands of the tight end, I believe, or Brad Borders, who was out there and went up for it. Finally, Shepard just steps in bounds and catches the football. It's another Jackson first down.
Great job to keep concentration on the play and keep going with the progression. Coming down with the catch and moving the chains for your offense. Kind of the first real signs of life we've seen within Jackson in quite a while.
Now the run off to the right-hand side. Another smash in the middle there. The sun comes right down into our eyes here in the broadcast booth. And I can see shapes, but numbers are going to be kind of tough at this point in time. 2nd down and 9 after the run.
You also have to like how you got some brand new guys in there for the Edmonds Woodway defense, still flying around, not leaving off anything that the starters did, flying to the football, disrupting the running game, getting inside those gaps and stopping things for just minimal gains.
2nd down and 8. Handoff goes off to the left-hand side, given to Wheeler. And Wheeler goes up 5 more yards toward the red zone of Edmonds Woodway. One of the few times that the Timberwolves have been knocking on the EW door.
It was a great job right there. You had the backside guard, Mike Karzinas, come around and get the outside linebacker, which sprung his runner free for a nice pickup about 5-6 yards.
3rd down and 3. Cheeseman still in the ball game at quarterback, although they've mixed up the running back core. Brandon Wheeler in the backfield. Along with Cunningham, the fullback. And the Wheeler up through the middle has Cunningham, that big body leading the way.
The only real issue with this whole ground attack right now with Jackson is it's obviously wasting time. It would have been a valiant effort to try to come back from 28 points down in the second half, but the only success that they're getting on their offensive side of the ball is running it just straight down the throats in between the tackles of their offensive line and Edmonds Woodway's defense. Just didn't have much of an aerial attack tonight with Alex Cheeseman.
Seems like the plays that they have gone aerial have been fairly successful, overthrown a couple of players.
Just had the 1 interception.
And that was almost on a Hail Mary underthrown ball, so a little interesting why they haven't gone back and mixed that up just a little more with trying to connect with Keenan Foster one more time. Had a nice little slant route earlier that Foster was able to pick up.
How's that sun treating you?
It's hard. This is harsh. Feels good. A long summer night here at Edmonds District Stadium. Around the left-hand side goes Brandon Wheeler and breaks a tackle into the end zone. Touchdown, Jackson. We're not done.
There were a couple of arm tackles right there by Edmonds Woodway, but don't take anything away from that left side of the offensive line. Getting downfield, you had a nice seal off on that defensive end. The fullback was able to get on the outside linebacker, sprinting his running back free, and they had the inside and all locked up nicely as well. The only tackle that was ever a possible bring down was by the free safety at Edmonds Woodway, and he got away with the arm tackle, and the running back got in for a touchdown.
I believe that was a 16-yard pickup for the TD for Wheeler. And now the extra point is good, and 14 points on the board for the Timberwolves with 4:08 to go, although they got a bit of an uphill battle to fight with Edmonds Woodway a 35-14 lead. We'll take a break on the Sound Live Sports Network, presented by Shoreline Community College. Edmonds Woodway, large and in charge. We'll be right back.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
The atmosphere here at Edmonds District Stadium almost collegiate. They are having a good time in the stands here tonight. Of course, Edmonds Woodway student body probably enjoying themselves a little more with a lead 35-14. But it's not entirely hard to enjoy this festive atmosphere, Stephen.
Well, I mean, just the whole feeling of football is finally back within high school ranks. You got the NFL started last night, college football last weekend, and so we're back in full swing of fall athletics, and it's a great feeling for everybody.
The ball short, about the 30-yard line. Isaac Jackson takes the scoop off the turf, powers forward to the 35, and that's where Edmonds Woodway will start. Jackson, although a quarterback, not shy about taking a hit. That young man, forward progress, full force. Head down, making a move.
Was not much. He's much smaller than Nick Morales. He's 5'9" compared to Nick Morales, who stands at 6'2". But like you said, he's not afraid to lower his shoulder and bring the boom on the defender if he's not willing to do it.
3:47 remaining in the football game. Jackson back in at quarterback. There's the handoff around the right-hand end, and a penalty flag is down. We've got another hold in the backfield. And not only a loss on the play, but a hold to boot. And right now, you got a lot of kids that don't start for Edmonds Woodway in the ball game. Great learning opportunity for head coach John Gradwall.
You're up by 21. You have 3:35 left in the fourth quarter, and you just want kind of the groove to go as it has this entire game, but may not necessarily be the case. So make sure that the snap is well. The offensive line has good communication on who they're going to block, and if there's some sort of call within that between the tackles, that they have that locked down, and you give open alley and running lanes for the running backs to try to break free, or unless it's Isaac Jackson running through, make sure your quarterback doesn't get popped by a middle linebacker blitzing through.
Jackson in the shotgun formation, one in the backfield. He'll take it ahead himself, and there's that pop, but dragged to the turf. Had to hang on to the football after meeting Nick Peterson.
And he came through unblocked.
And it did come out. Ball hit the turf, but Edmonds Woodway able to get back on it and will keep possession.
One thing you also have to like is Gradball wasn't very happy with the progression and the execution of that play, but regardless of the fact that they're up 2:50 left in the fourth, he's still coaching his young quarterback, the backup, Isaac Jackson, to try to tell him, hey, next time we call that, I want this to happen, I want it to look that way. True sign of a coach who's been a veteran and done it for a long time.
Guaranteed the same is happening on the other sideline with head coach Joel Vincent. Also a wily vet, bootleg. The roll out to the right here as Jackson has a receiver open. And just in and out of Ebro Polovina's hands. In at wide receiver. Ebro, one of those nice tall targets. 6'5", 195 pounds.
And not a terrible pass by Isaac Jackson. You just got to get it down a little bit. He is 6'5", as you mentioned, but that's a massive frame to throw it to. If you got him right out of that cut, he had to travel back about 3 yards to come back and make an attempt for the catch. If you had him right out of the cut, got it downfield a little bit quicker, the defender may not have had as much time to regain the little bit of the open space that was left after he made the cutback.
3rd down and 25, just 25 yards. We've done it before. We've seen this before. This movie can end well. If you remember right, back in the second drive of the ball game, Edmonds Woodway backed up 25 yards to the first down, and Nick Morales turns around and hits McCole 25 yards for the huge first down.
The sun in the face, too.
And Connor McCole certainly instrumental in the outcome of this ball game tonight. And now we've got a timeout on the floor. I want to remind you that Red Onion Burgers post-game show and player of the game ensuing after the ball game tonight. A lot of bodies on the Edmonds Woodway side that are probably could warrant a player of the game. Well-rounded football game on all three facets. You talked about special teams. You talk about defense. Of course, the offense putting up 35 points really in 2 quarters of football.
I mean, besides the opening series for offense for Edmonds Woodway, that was the only big hitch in the giddy-up that they had throughout this entire ball game. Besides that, they did well.
Isaac Jackson tries to go to the left and then has to go back to the right, spins around and is met by half of the defense of the Timberwolves and brings up 4th down. And we've got a green jersey on the carpet. And that is Reed Friday.
It's the backup center.
Down on the turf, grabbing his right knee. We'd hope he's okay. Timberwolves, their only other non-league game, Marysville Getchell, and then begin their games that matter with the home game against Cascade on September 19th, 2 weeks from tonight. Then up to Monroe to face the Bearcats a week later. Then a tough one, Mariner, the Marauders, not an easy ball club to get past. Those kids always are in ball games every single year. The Marauders know how to play football. Friday, October 3rd. And then the Kamiak Knights at home, Friday, October 10th. And then Mount Vernon, Snohomish. And another tough game to end the regular season. The Lake Stevens Vikings come in to Everett Memorial Stadium.
And you just mentioned this, but who do you think throughout this entire progression of the game deserves to be the player of the game for Edmonds Woodway?
Very tough. You have a lot of names we mentioned time and time again as points started to rack up under the offense of Edmonds Woodway, and as well as Nick Morales played at quarterback. It's namely the running game, I believe, that is probably more deserved. Chance Justice with a pair of touchdowns is certainly the leader in the clubhouse, I think. Nick Venema. They got a pick off by Schlegel, who's also played very well on the defensive side of the ball, putting the handcuffs on Kenan Foster at cornerback. Good question, I guess, to answer your question. I have no idea at this point.
I mean, you named the guy who's, as you said, a leader in the clubhouse, Chance Justice. Did a nice job on defense, too, flying to the football and making tackles for minimal gains or even losses.
That goes over the head, and I don't know if it was touched by Tanner Litchfield, the deep man to return for the Timberwolves, but he went back as if he did and was pursued heavily down to the 20-yard line.
And the guy who could have picked it up was Anthony Schlegel, who would have catapulted his nomination just a little bit better for the player of the game. But
I'm impressed with Schlegel. He was quiet. I really did not a lot of reps in last season's very good Edmonds Woodway ball team. I think he's going to be a difference maker in this year's squad.
There's always one of those guys. Last year it was Tyler Reinford who stepped in and did well, and Spencer Schultz. And now the guy who might be the sophomore that they were last year, Anthony Schlegel, he might be the one that steps into that role and kind of is one of those key role players for Edmonds Woodway.
And off to the right-hand side. Edmonds Woodway developing a feeder team about 5 years ago. And you're starting to see some of those kids come up through the ranks now to make a difference for your varsity team. And all the Kingco teams, you got your Bothels and your Skylines. They've had those feeder programs for a long time, and you see what it's done for their programs. And now you're starting to see the results of the effort for the Edmonds Woodway feeder team, as some of these kids now are starting to come up and make a difference on your varsity squad.
Well, I mean, it started all the way back to probably your son's senior year with Tyler Brudevold at quarterback, Josh Jordan and all those guys. And then you went into kind of the era of Davis Giles, Mac McLaughlin. And then now we got a new kind of team right now with Nick Morales at the helm, and to see how they progress will be interesting throughout this entire season. But the foundation was laid back there just about, 4 years ago now with that group of seniors, and it's carried all the way through.
There's the run out to the left-hand side this time. And Brandon Wheeler doesn't want his night to end. He is definitely continuing his movement forward, and that a 15-yard pickup for the first down after scoring a touchdown from about that distance on their last possession. Now 14 seconds to go. You got to give it back to him. Hurry. And met one defender. Could not get by the second. And that should do it. 35-14, the final score here at Edmonds District Stadium. Edmonds Woodway with the W over the Jackson Timberwolves in the first game of the season for both of these teams. Edmonds Woodway establishing their offense often and early and put up all but one touchdown in the first half.
Just had that one mistake, as we've kind of harped about and said it a couple of times. The second play of the game, the massive pass downfield to Keenan Foster, who ran away for the touchdown. Besides that, completely fundamentally sound on both sides of the ball and on special teams as well.
So we'll take a break here on the Sound Live Sports Network. Come back with our player of the game in just a moment. Again, the final score, Edmonds Woodway 35, Jackson Timberwolves 14 on the Sound Live Sports Network.
Welcome to Northwest Best, brought to you by Smart Service Subaru. Here's your host, Mike Halsey.
We're back at the Red Onion in Mount Lake Terrace, and I'm with the owner, Sean, and the food here is absolutely terrific. The burgers are made with 100% beef, made to order with fresh ingredients. And you're involved in a lot of community projects.
Yes, Mike, we are. With the help of our loyal customers, we're able to give back to our community. Such as we take 100 kids shopping with cops and join us for our terrific Tuesday fundraisers. Join us
at Red Onion Burger.
And thank you for watching.
Is it Linwood? It's Linwood? Linwood's next? Oh, I have Meadowdale. I thought it was Meadowdale.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
(35-14) the final, as the daylight, at least natural daylight, seems to escape us here at Edmonds District Stadium, getting the lights on in anticipation of the Linwood Royals Stanwood Spartans matchup coming up directly after this. But Edmonds Woodway coming over and singing the fight song before they leave the field with a very ecstatic crowd. And rightfully so. That team plays very, very well tonight. That Edmonds Woodway 35-14 win over Jackson.
All it took was the first series on both sides of the ball, and then after that, just kind of kicked it in gear, finally got the rhythm of it and the speed of the game after been practicing in the Jamboree for the last couple weeks. Settled in, got the snap counts done. Offensive line gelled, did really well tonight for having the first game and graduating 4 out of 5 guys. Got to the running backs to the outside or up the middle and opened up the holes for touchdowns. Morales settled in and did a great job as his first start as a Warrior at quarterback. And then on defense, Anthony Schlegel, turnover, got the block punt by Rhineford. So, I mean, there's just a lot of things that they can especially hang their hat on tonight and look forward to next week against their another away game, I believe, against Mariner. So, or Kamiak, excuse me. So a lot of things that they can look forward to for next week. A couple things to work on, but in the most part, it's completely positive.
Jackson certainly had some bright moments. The first touchdown of the ball game was a long bomb strike from Cheeseman to Foster that really set the tone, you would think, for this Jackson Timberwolves team. The way they were able to come in here and get in an early touchdown. But after that, it was pretty much a desert for offense for the Timberwolves, not able to get their running game going, and only a few completions, namely to Keenan Foster from Cheeseman, although I was impressed by Wheeler after he was able to get a couple of touches late in the ball game. I think he's your leading rusher by far. I don't have the exact totals in front of me, but by the time he was able to score the only rushing touchdown for Jackson of the evening, he had amassed 40 yards to my count.
And I don't know, you can't take anything away from his effort, and I don't know if it's because the second string guys were in or the fact that Edmonds Woodway had game planned as much as they could for Andrew Cho, but once they got settled in with that, the game was kind of far out of reach. Then you brought in Wheeler, and he still did a great job, not necessarily going from sideline to sideline, more of a north-south kind of runner, going to lower his shoulder pad on you, not necessarily get away with speed. But once you kind of he breaks one of those tackles, he's got all the momentum going forward, and he's able to keep his progression going and make positive gains.
They'll retool that offense and try to come out next Friday night at Quilceda Stadium. Marysville Getchell, the opponent, 7 p.m. against Jackson Timberwolves. And then they will go on to start their regular season league matchups against the Cascade Bruins at home at Everett Memorial Stadium on Friday, September 19th. Edmonds Woodway, meanwhile, goes up to Kamiak at Goddard Stadium, a 7 p.m. start a week from tonight. And they will face the Knights in their last remaining non-league game. And it seems weird calling the Kamiak Knights and the Jackson Timberwolves non-league when that's all that's been impressed upon us in the 4A ranks up to this season before Edmonds Woodway and the Linwood Royals drop down to 3.
Yeah, it's just going to be one of those things where Some guys go up drop down to 3A. Some of them stay up at 4A. It's also going to be kind of nice and exciting to see some different teams week in and week out, for Edmonds Woodway, and see how they are able to ultimately respond to that. But like you said, it's going to be difficult to not look forward to that last game like we typically do and see Jackson there at the schedule. It's going to be Glacier Peak, but that's a tough one for Jackson to drop, especially as the first game of the year.
Stephen, you and I have been doing this for, 6 or 7 years now, and it seems like the difference between 3A and 4A, what are your impressions? What do you think the difference is as far as quality of teams at those two levels? You've seen them for quite a while now.
Honestly, I can't really tell the difference. As we had mentioned, this classification shift, bringing Jackson up and having Edmonds Woodway go down to 3A, but the speeds are the same, the size is the same. It's just it's basically the same. The schemes are the same, and the strategy going in and week out for both sides. And so I don't really see a big difference between 3A and 4A. And it showed tonight, especially with the 3A team, Woodway, who just got moved down going against a 4A Jackson team.
We've got our player of the game in the booth tonight. We'll take a quick break and come back with Chance Justice. 2 touchdowns on the evening. When we come back, you're watching the Sound Live Sports Network. EW with the win, 35-7 over 14 over the Jackson Timberwolves. We'll be back in just a second.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary? Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
(35-14) the final. Edmonds Woodway with the win. Chance Justice has joined us in the booth, and as soon as we can get our booth camera together, we'll get him on live. But I'd like to remind you that the player of the game is sponsored by Red Onion Burgers in Mount Lake Terrace. Visit them online at redonionburger.com. Chance Justice, 2 touchdowns. And your first real action as a starter for Edmonds Woodway. Yep. And get that mic right up to your face, Chance. And how does it feel to have the opportunity, to play with this group under the lights on Friday night for the first time for real?
God, it was amazing. We're just one big group of brothers. We're family. And, I just wanted to go out there, give my team my all. And the whole team together, we've been just practicing like we're brothers. And, that really helped us get that win tonight.
The second play from scrimmage for the Jackson Timberwolves, you had a little bit of trouble having to get a speedster and dial him in, and Keenan Foster. Tell us a little bit about that play, and then we'll get to your touchdowns in just a second.
Well, I bid on the run, and with his speed, you cannot bite on the run, or else he'll get behind you in less than a second. But thankfully, with the help with the coaches, I was able to get back and just play it safe as a safety, because I know my linebackers and defensive line were going to do a great job. And throughout the game, they really picked it up.
That was only one. And in high school sports, Stephen and I have talked this a number of times, redemption is huge. You make one mistake, and you can come back and be the hero. Here you are, the player of the game, after having a struggle on your first side on defense, and now 2 touchdowns later. Explain the first one, the first run off to the left-hand side, that 21-yard scramble. You got a great lead block and into the end zone.
The blockers today, I think I speak for all running backs, the blocking today was phenomenal. It wasn't me that scored. It was the lineman. And then, thankfully, I was just there to accomplish what the lineman did. Logan Lambert had a great block on that corner, and I was ready to read that run and go and score. So my line did a great job today.
That's what I was going to ask. You had 4 out of 5 of the starters last year on the O-line graduate. How proud of you are you of the progression of what these guys did in their first game under the lights on Friday?
They did fantastic. We were really focusing on the line this year because with them being gone, we had to really step it up on the line. And, throughout the week, they had a great week of practice. And there was some tune-ups that we had, but this game, they really showed it and picked it up. It was awesome.
2 touchdowns. I don't know your yardage because we weren't keeping track of it, but you had to be up there near the century mark, Chance. And that's an impressive stat when you've got 2 running backs. Nick Venema, also, you hand the ball off to him as many snaps as you got.
Yeah, and Connor McCool, what I really think that helped with us is we have so many threats. We can throw the ball, we can run the ball with multiple people, Connor McCool, Nick Venema, and even our quarterbacks, Nick Morales and Isaac Jackson. Isaac Jackson had a nice scramble over here just on the sideline. So, that's really going to help us in the long run. And, I was just a small part of our accomplishments today. And it was just a team-wide effort.
We'll let you get back to your team. Chance Justice, an outstanding
Thank
effort.
you.
Our Red Onion Burgers of Mount Lake Terrace player of the game, and we've got the player of the game T-shirt. Wear this with pride.
Yeah, I will.
The first ever Chance Justice Red Onion Burgers player of the game. Take care. 35-7 the final here at Edmonds District Stadium. Edmonds Woodway takes the win over the Jackson Timberwolves. They will be up at Kamiak at Goddard Stadium a week from tonight at a 7 o'clock kickoff at that one. And coming up right after this one, you want to stick around because it is the Linwood Royals and the Stanwood Spartans. An 8 o'clock kickoff right here, the second of the doubleheader. Before we leave, Stephen McGrain, always a pleasure. Your final thoughts on the ball game tonight, Edmonds Woodway and Jackson.
Great first game. Keep progressing. Come out next week against Kamiak and do an even better job.
8 o'clock, you want to stick around. Sound Live Sports Network. It's coming up next. Steve Willis with the call alongside Vince DeMiro. Jackson is dismissed by Edmonds Woodway, 35-14. And now we've got the Linwood versus Stanwood game coming up. Thanks for being along for the ride. We'll say goodnight for now.